Welcome along to another video. Today I'm going to talk to you about club path. Now, if you've just seen my recent video on why you are bad at golf, one of the topics I talked to you about is club path and why you shouldn't be going out there seeking to change your club path. Club path is the reaction or the symptom of other ingredients. So, what I wanted to talk about is what affects club path. Now, I've got a Swiss ball here, and this Swiss ball is giving me a benchmark of where the outside of the circle is. So I'm going to pop my golf ball on the outside of the circle. So imagine this is the wall. I wanted to keep it as a Swiss ball. I could have plonked something else here as a straight line, but I wanted to keep it as a Swiss ball, and I'll explain why in a moment. So, with me being the golfer, standing this side of the golf ball, obviously, for a right-handed player, depending on where the centre of me is, in terms of my torso, if I move my torso closer to the golf ball, or my torso further away from the golf ball, effectively what that is going to do is to move the sweet spot, or certainly have an influence on the sweet spot of the golf club moving either towards me or further away from me. The other influence on the sweet spot is where the handle is. So not only through the pressure through my feet, but also the direction and the orientation of where the handle is. So as I get to the top of my golf swing here, and without moving the golf club, if the pressure was too much shifting towards the toes of my feet, I would have moved my circle too far away from me. If when I got to the top of my backswing, I then shifted too much into the heels of my feet and moved the golf club down, I would have influenced the circle and moved it a bit closer to me. And so that has an influence on whether we become a heel sweet spot striker or toe striker, because of where my centre is of my pivot. But it also has an opportunity to influence whether the arc and direction of the club head is either going to come from over here outside of the ball line or inside of the ball line. So as I make my golf swing on the way down, and because I'm pulling towards the golf ball, I shift pressure onto the toes of my feet. That's more of an influence on making this club head swing outside in. Point being is that the symptom is the club. The club is responding to what I'm doing. If, when I pulled the golf club, I actually kept the pressure back in my right heel, let's say, I would have more chance of making that golf club arrive from the inside. Again, the club path is responding to how I'm moving. Now, going back to my original video, if I made the golf club approach the inside, but the club face was open, I would strike the ball. Gosh, that was a terrible shot. One of the worst demonstrations I've ever had. The club was inside out though. And actually, ironically, for those of you that have practiced trying to get the club inside out, hitting it fat might have been a shot that you've experienced. Well, you've just seen it in a demonstration, because the more the club is from the inside, the lower the club is to the ground coming into the golf ball, and the more chance I have of hitting it fat. So there I am back on the inside again, making the path of the golf club swing from the inside, because the face was not closed enough, it didn't quite draw back, but all of the time the club is trying to swing over here, it's having an influence on trying to make the club head twist and close over. So yes, swinging the path fictitiously inside out might create that shot, but you're going to sacrifice a heck of a lot of energy. So understanding therefore the pressure between the toe and the heel of the feet will affect whether the club tries to swing from the outside or from the inside. That's cause number one. The second cause of poor path control, over and above the face being out of orientation. It's where we strike the golf ball in the circle. So this Swiss ball here, the point of the ball, or the outermost point of the ball, the outermost point of the radius relative to me, is effectively the arc that's going to match up with the golf club that my club is making. So the two circles are kissing in effect. So the two circles are kissing. Therefore, if I strike the golf ball before this point, I'm more than likely to strike the golf ball. God knows what that was. I'm more likely to strike the ball on the inside path. If I put the ball past this sweet spot of the circle, I'm more than likely to now strike the golf ball on the way back in. So depending on whether you strike the ball this side of the centre line of the circle or to the left-hand side of the centre line of the circle will dictate whether you meet the ball on the way in or the way in. In my world, there is absolutely no outside. There is only different portions of inside the ball line. Because if you're a golfer and you were trying to hit a shot with a wall here, and you are that golfer trying to swing it inside out, your club would be smashing into the wall and busting all sorts of arms and legs. We're only ever trying to make the golf club work in to in. How you go about doing that ultimately is whether you strike the golf ball forwards of the centre line or after the centre line, or whether you've moved the arc out or back in. The other variable is wrist angle. If you're a guy that unloads the golf club super early, again, you're going to try to move the club head out this way. Why would you do that? Again, if your club face was open, the club is trying to swing outside in to stop the ball going right. Again, you would fix the face before you fix the cast. Casting, again, is the symptom. This game is so bloody easy, people, but we are caught up in this merry-go-round of misinterpretation of what the causes of the problems are. We need to learn how to move, and the golf club will reflect that. As long as we've got our hands on the golf club in the right manner, we will become more form and function and less trying to mechanically move this golf club in a spot. So the three keys to understanding why your path might be outside in: number one, obviously making sure that the face is correct. Let's just take that for granted. Number one, if you have shifted your unit, your posture, your body, your pivot, call it what you will, closer to the golf ball, and you're off balance, your club head will be further away from you than when you started. It's obvious, right? I move more weight on the toes of my feet. The club moves more away from me. The arc of the circle's more over here. I move it more on my heels. The club will try to work more from the inside. So that's number one. Number two, if your ball is either too far forwards or too far back, it'll either affect you to hitting from the inside or hitting from the inside, either before the centre line of the circle or after the centre line of the circle. This golf swing is inside to inside. There is no inside out or outside in. It is a circle, and we are trying to make it go inside to inside. No inside out, no outside in. So if the ball is too far forwards in your stance, you would meet it on the way back in. Trackman would say your path is pointing to the left. I strike that golf ball forwards in my stance. I meet it on the way back in. The club path is negative 14.2. Forget what the face is doing. I hit the golf ball in front of the centre line of the circle I meet the ball back here. I therefore strike the ball from the inside. TrackMan didn't like that. Let me do that again because I was outside the eye of the TrackMan. So centre line, I'm going to move forward so it's off my right foot. I now strike it at that part of the circle. I now swing from the inside. The club path is now 14 degrees inside. I then bring the ball back to the middle of my stance. I now meet it much closer to the sweet spot of the golf swing. The sweet spot of the golf swing, this little point here, now my path is much, much straighter. So understand, if the ball's too far back, you're more likely to meet it from the inside. If you have the ball further forward, you're more likely to have it back inside. Understand, therefore, if you're a driver, you're hitting the driver, the ball is further forwards, your club path is more susceptible to meeting it on the way back in. If you've then got an open club face and it's swinging left, that's why we see prolific slices of the golf ball. But of course with the driver, if we move the ball further back in our stance, we straighten the path up. But now I'm hitting too much down on it. Now the ball has no flight and goes to the right. So you're caught between the devil and the deep blue sea. So therefore, the path is responding to your club face. So therefore, ball position is crucial to adjust path. But you move it so far back that you create an inside-out path, or an inside path, you're just going to hit it right because the face is out of orientation to that path. So move the ball around at your peril if you're just searching for a better path line. So it's important to understand that. And then finally, the radius of the arc. Depending on how wide the golf club is on the way down, the wider that club head is, understanding all things being equal, the ball's in a reasonable, nice position. I haven't shifted too much weight on the toes of my feet, but now on the way down, I've now widened the arc because my club face is usually open. So by widening the arc, now the face is trying to look to the left. So I've widened my arc, but look what's happened to the club path. And in doing so, I've lost all my energy because I've not used my levers efficiently. So I've just let the golf club go. So the radius of the golf swing has actually caused the outside in. Now I'm a golfer that has a super narrow downswing. I've got loads of load. I might be a golfer that has quite a shut club face because I'm fed up with hitting it left. So as a shut golf club guy, I'd super narrow, and then that allows me to hit from the inside to stop it going left. Hit from the inside, stop it going left. I've now approached the ball 9.4 degrees from the inside because I've had a narrow arc, narrow radius to get from the inside, but the face was still shut, it still went left. So the very next shot, as someone that's a hooker of the golf ball, would then start to get even more inside, club face even more close, and I'm so inside it at 18.3 degrees, I've still got a hook. But the face is shut. I am the same person creating this laggy, narrow angle, but my face is wide open. Good luck with that. 8.2 inside out, and the ball has gone way up in the air and gone nowhere. Understand the game for what it is. Deal with those three principles that will be influencing your golf swing. But ultimately, if you're not at the top of the pile sorting out your grip, you could be searching for stuff that doesn't need messing with. And I had someone comment on the video that I did yesterday. I think I've got a pretty strong grip. Does that look like a strong grip to you? It's through the palm of my hand. Hideously weak. Can't support the golf club at the top. That's a strong grip. It's in a different part of my hand. I'll talk about that at another time. But people's interpretation of what their grip must look like is different to the detail that you might get from a coach. And even when you have a lesson, people will go, sometimes that grip's good enough. For me, you need to be a pervert on grips. They need to be like really good, because that way you've got the opportunity to make the face repeat quite a lot of the time, and then you can build something around that. So hopefully this has given you some insight into what influences path, but understanding that there's some groundwork to be done before you start thinking about affecting your path. Play around, move the ball back, move into your heels, early extend the club, narrow the club. It will change the path line, but if it's not making, when the club goes inside out, if it's not making the ball go at the target, your face is fundamentally open. And invariably, in my experience, the quickest way to change that is by sorting your grip out. Changing wrist angles. This flattening of the left wrist is something that is has been used a lot. Sure, it helps, but if your grip is fundamentally weak to start with, you can try to do this all you like, and it'll actually make you feel like you're being tied up in knots. So, hopefully, this has been insightful. If you've liked it, share, subscribe while you're here, share with your friends, and don't forget to hit the like button as well. It really helps the video and the channel grow. I look forward to seeing you all next time, and take it.